Hey everybody, it's Holly. Welcome back to part 3 of the Student Hat series. I originally recorded about 23 minutes of this, and I realized that the microphone was not on the entire time in OBS, so that was causing me a pretty big issue. I was kind of pissed about that, but I figured I'll just put it off another day and then just record today if I have to. Today, think we'll cover dictionaries, we're going to cover check sheets, and possibly twinning. I think I'm gonna save twinning for another day. Because it's I think it's 10 or 11 pages. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into HCO Bulletin of the 13th of February, 1981. Dictionaries. A dictionary is a book containing the words of a language or specific subject, usually arranged in alphabetical order, which gives information about the meanings of the words, their pronunciations, origins, etc. Dictionaries are vital and important tools in studying or learning any subject. However, current dictionaries vary in accuracy and usefulness, and many of these modern dictionaries are virtually useless and can actually confuse a person due to their false and omitted definitions and grammatical and other errors. Current dictionaries as of 1981, Hubbard said, are virtually useless and can confuse a person due to false and omitted definitions. I can understand certain dictionaries having omitted definitions, but from what I've gathered, they tend not to have false definitions and grammatical and other errors. So the dictionary that a student chooses to use is important and can actually make a difference in his success as a student. As dictionaries are such an important factor in the learning and application of Scientology, or any subject for that matter, I thought I'd better recommend some dictionaries that have been found to be the best of those currently available. I've also included some additional data on the use of dictionaries in clearing words. Some useful dictionaries. The following dictionaries are recommended because they've been found to be better, more accurate, and more useful than others. No one dictionary was found that would be ideal for all students. The dictionary a student uses is a matter of personal preference and depends to some degree on his vocabulary and level of literacy. Using the wrong dictionary can make study much harder for a student and greatly extend his time on course. If a student finds he's looking up a lot of words in the definitions he's clearing and that he's getting into long word chains, he should change to a more simple dictionary. An outgradient dictionary, one that's maybe higher of an educational level than you are able to comprehend. An outgradient dictionary can make word clearing and study unnecessarily difficult. For example, college dictionaries are often quite complicated, and some students will find themselves spending too much time chasing around the dictionary trying to clear up MUs within the definitions of the words being cleared. This can be time-consuming and frustrating. If you look up bird in a simple beginner's dictionary, it says something like an animal covered with feathers that has 2 legs and lays eggs. Now, if you look up the same word in a college dictionary, it becomes any warm-blooded vertebrate, animal with a backbone, of the class Aves, Latin for birds, having a body covered with feathers and forelimbs, front legs, modified or changed in some way, into wings. The explanations in the brackets, of course, are not included in the dictionary definition. They've been added here so that one can easily understand the presentation of the definition of bird. This would likely lead a student into the definitions of vertebrate, aves, forelimbs, and modified. However, after a bit of this, the student is slumped on the table with 45 words to look up that he's never heard of before. The answer is to take away his college dictionary and give him a more simple dictionary, and he'll begin to make some progress. On the other hand, some students do just fine with the more advanced dictionaries and would find the additional data helpful. From the dictionaries recommended here, a student should be able to find one that suits him and his vocabulary. Note, if a dictionary a student chooses does not contain derivations, then after clearing the word in that dictionary, he should consult a larger dictionary to clear the derivation. Some of the better, simpler dictionaries do not contain the derivations of the words. So last time, when I went through this, I read out the whole thing for each dictionary in the failed recording. So I'm going to read the names of the dictionaries. I'm going to read opinions about them. I'm not going to read any facts about the publisher or the author or anything like that or where they were published, but I'm going to write what L. Ron Hubbard wrote about his observations about those dictionaries. Essentially, I'm going to read those. So here's an example. Webster's New World Dictionary for Young Readers. This is a very simple American dictionary. It is a hardbound volume and does not contain derivations. When using this dictionary, a student must be sure to clear the derivations in a larger dictionary. The definitions in this dictionary are quite good. Oxford American Dictionary. This is a very good American dictionary, simpler than the college ones. yet more advanced than the beginning one listed above. It does not list derivations of the words. It is quite an excellent dictionary and very popular with students who want to use an intermediate dictionary. The Random House College Dictionary Revised Edition. This is a college dictionary and somewhat of a higher gradient than the dictionaries listed above. This Random House dictionary contains a large number of slang definitions and idioms and also gives good derivations. The Webster's New World Dictionary of the American Language College Edition. This is an American college dictionary. It is a one-volume dictionary and gives most of the slang definitions and idioms. It also has good derivations. Funk and Wagnall's New Comprehensive Dictionary of the English Language International Edition. So we got a previous publisher. Previous title for publishing, and then the new title is the Funk and Wagnall's title. Currently available from this publisher, location of the publisher. The most recent edition is sold by the Publishers International Press, not in bookstores, and can be obtained by writing or calling the above locations. This is one of the most grammatically correct dictionaries there is, and it is probably the best American dictionary available. It is a 2-volume set and is a fairly advanced dictionary. Chambers' 20th Century Dictionary. It is quite thorough, containing most of the English idioms and slang. It's a fairly high gradient dictionary, however, and is recommended for the more literate students. The definitions are quite thorough, but few examples are given. The Concise Oxford Dictionary. This is a very concise English dictionary, but is not a simple or beginner's dictionary. It is a small 1-volume dictionary. It uses a lot of abbreviations, which may take some getting used to, but once the abbreviations are mastered, students find this dictionary as easy to use as any other similarly advanced dictionary. It's less complicated in its definitions than the usual college dictionary and has the added benefit that the definitions given are well stated. In other words, it does not give the same definition reworded into several different definitions the way some dictionaries do. I'd like to know an example of a word that he thinks does that, because usually definitions aren't the same. The Shorter Oxford English Dictionary. This is a 2-volume English dictionary and is a shorter version of the Oxford English Dictionary. It is quite up to date and is an ideal dictionary for fairly literate students. Even if not used regularly, it makes a very good reference dictionary. The definitions given in the Oxford dictionaries are usually more accurate and give a better idea of the meaning of the word than any other dictionary. The Oxford English Dictionary. This is by far the largest English dictionary and is the principal dictionary of the English language. It consists of 12 volumes and several supplementary volumes. There's a compact edition of the Oxford English Dictionary, which the exact text of the Oxford English Dictionary is duplicated in very small print, which is read through a magnifying glass. Reduced in this manner, the whole thing fits into 2 volumes. For many students, this dictionary may be too comprehensive to use on a regular basis. For some students, huge dictionaries can be confusing as the words they use in their definitions. For some students, huge dictionaries can be confusing as the words they use in their definitions are often too big or too rare and make one chase through 20 new words to get the meaning of the original. Although many students will not use this as their only dictionary, it is a must for every course room and will be found useful in clearing certain words, verifying data from other dictionaries, etc. It's a valuable reference dictionary and is sometimes the only dictionary that correctly defines a particular word. If your local bookstore does not stock them, they will be able to order them for you. As a student's vocabulary increases and he becomes more literate, he will often graduate to a more advanced dictionary. This phenomenon of outgrowing dictionaries was observed on a pilot course designed to increase a person's level of literacy. As students progressed through the course, they switched from a beginner's dictionary to a more advanced dictionary and sooner or later started delving into the Oxford English Dictionary. The point is, use as complete and advanced a dictionary as you can without getting in over your head. And don't hesitate to use a simpler one if it's better for you. Some students have found their study speed greatly increased just by switching to a simpler dictionary. Note, when a student using a simple dictionary has to go to a larger dictionary in order to find a definition he's looking for, he would clear that particular definition in the larger dictionary and then go to his simpler dictionary to clear the rest of the definitions of that word. Otherwise, he could get in over his head. From the dictionaries recommended here, a student should be able to find one that suits him. Whatever one they choose, it should be the correct gradient for him. For instance, you wouldn't give a foreign language student who barely knows English the big Oxford to use in his studies. Dinky dictionaries. A dinky dictionary is a dictionary that gives you definitions inadequate for a real understanding of the word. Entire definitions are sometimes found to be missing from such dictionaries. Dinky dictionaries are the kind you can fit in your pocket. They're usually paperback and sold at magazine counters in drugstores and grocery stores. Don't use a dinky dictionary. Dictionaries and a person's own language. English dictionaries and American ones differ in some of their definitions as the Americans and English define some words differently. For example, in an American dictionary we find pavement defined as a hard paved surface generally referring to a road or a street. In an English dictionary it is defined as a paved footway at the side of the road, which is known in America as a sidewalk. So you could get a situation where an American is barreling down the road on a steamroller yelling, "Clear the pavement," and an Englishman walking at the side of the road on the sidewalk hears this and thinks he means to get off the paved footway at the side of the road, and so he jumps into the road and gets run down. And you'll find that word sidewalk does not even appear in the English dictionary, yet it is a very common American word. An English dictionary will have different applications of words that are specifically British. These usages won't necessarily be found in American dictionaries as they're not part of the American version of the English language. Different dictionaries have things in them which are unique to that language. In addition to the Oxford English Dictionary, the Chambers 20th Century Dictionary, mentioned above, is a good example of an English dictionary for the English. For the most part, a student's dictionary should correspond to his own language. No shit. This does not mean that an American shouldn't use an English dictionary or vice versa, but if he does, he should be aware of the above and check words in a dictionary of his own language as needed. Synonyms. In using dictionaries and clearing words, you should be aware that one can make the error of defining a word using synonyms. A synonym is a word that means the same or nearly the same as another word in the same language. It is not the definition of a word. Example, defining fat as portly is defining a word using a synonym, whereas a definition of fat would be having much or too much flabby tissue. A definition is a precise statement of the real nature of a thing, an exact explanation of the meaning of a word or phrase. A synonym is not a definition. A student who defines a word as its synonym does not necessarily understand the nuances of that word. The correct handling for this would be for him to define the word and use it in sentences until it's understood conceptually. If a student defines a word in terms of its synonyms only, he will be missing a true understanding of the word. False and omitted definitions. It's been found that some dictionaries leave out definitions and may even contain false definitions. If, when using a dictionary, a student comes across what he suspects to be a false definition, there's a handling that can be done. The first thing would be to ensure there are no misunderstoods in the definition in question, and then he should consult another dictionary and check its definition for the word being cleared. This may require more than one dictionary. In this way, any false definitions can be resolved. Other dictionaries, encyclopedias, and textbooks should be on hand for reference. If a student runs into an omitted definition or a suspected omitted definition, then other dictionaries or reference books should be consulted and the omitted definition found and cleared. Derivations. A derivation is a statement of the origin of a word. Words originated somewhere and meant something originally. Through ages, they have sometimes become altered in meaning. Derivations are important in getting a full understanding of words. By understanding the origin of a word, one will have a far greater grasp of the concept of that word. Students find that they're greatly assisted in understanding a word fully and conceptually if they know the word's derivation. A student must always clear the derivation of any word he looks up. It will commonly be found that a student does not know how to read the derivations of the words in most dictionaries. The most common error they make is not understanding that when there is a word in the derivation which is fully capitalized, it means that the word appears elsewhere in the dictionary and probably contains more information about the derivation. For example, the derivation of thermometer is given in one dictionary as thermo plus meter. Looking at the derivation of thermo, it says it's a combined form of the Greek thermos, meaning hot, and thermi, or therme, meaning heat. And the derivation of meter is given as coming from the French meter, which is from the Greek metron, meaning measure. By understanding and using these fully capitalized words, a student can get a full picture of a word's derivation. If a student has trouble with derivations, it is most likely because of the above, plus a misunderstood word or symbol in the derivation. These points can be cleared up quite easily when they're given difficulty. An excellent dictionary of derivations is the Oxford Dictionary of English Etymology, also printed by the Oxford University Press. We have long known the importance of clearing words, and it stands to reason that the dictionary one uses to do this would also be quite important. I trust this data will be of use. L. Ron Hubbard is assisted by Research and Compilations Unit, accepted by the Board of Directors of CSC, the Church of Scientology of California. I have never said dictionary so many goddamn times as I have right now. And to be honest, I'm quite sick of it. In my failed attempt of this video, I ended up switching the word dictionary for one. So someone might say an excellent one of derivations is the Oxford one of English etymology, just to avoid all those extra syllables. But we're done with that. I was able to skip past some of the publishing information, and we still got through it relatively quickly. So, we're going to hop into a policy letter called What is a Check Sheet? We're going to be referencing check sheet format, urgent, important, successful training lineup, keep Academy check sheets up to date, KSW Series 5 technical D grades, which we've read. The check sheet is a Scientology development in the field of study. A check sheet is a form which sets out the exact sequence of items to be studied or done by a student in order, item by item, on a course. It lists all the materials of the course in order to be studied with a place for the student, or the person checking the student out in case of a star rate checkout, to put his initial and the date as each item on the check sheet is studied, performed, or checked out. The check sheet is the program that the student follows to complete that course. The data of the course is studied and its drills performed in the order they're given on the check sheet. The student does not jump around or study the material in some other order. The materials are set out in the check sheet in the best order for study by the student so that he covers all the material in logical sequence. Further, following the exact order of the check sheet has a disciplinary function which assists the student to study. Actually, it seems like it doesn't necessarily have a disciplinary function. I think the disciplinary function is don't go off source. Don't stray away or mix up what L. Ron Hubbard wants you to do. The student's initial beside an item is an attestation that he knows in detail and can apply the material contained in the bulletin, policy letter, or tape, or that he's done and can do that drill. The initial of the supervisor or another student against a star-rated item is an attestation by him that he's given the student a star rate checkout on the item and that the student has passed. The course supervisor must inspect students' check sheets daily to ensure that all students are following the check sheet in its correct set-out order and that the student is making good progress through it. Through a check sheet means through the entire check sheet, theory, practical, all drills, and done in sequence. Retraining. Retraining, or back to course for retraining, means that the student is sent to cramming. I forgot that we were looking up some definitions in that failed video. So let's go 2 volumes. Green volumes, because cramming officer was a allocation board, check stubs, clear, criminal crime, criminon. Cramming. There are 2 areas of cramming: tech cramming, admin cramming. There are 2 basic types of cramming. A, to rapidly prepare a person for a post, their job, or technical action through intensive study, word clearing, and drilling on key materials. Or to rapidly correct a person after the fact of an error or flub by finding the why and handling that why with study and word clearing of that particular data involved and drilling the actions to the point of confidence and competence. This covers cramming orders sent to the qualifications division, or originated by the cramming officer or qualifications secretary on outpoints in the org. Okay, so that's a board technical bulletin on the 8th of March, 75. Alright, so cramming is just preparing a person through study, word clearing, and drilling, or to correct an error or something. To correct an error by finding the why, which we'll learn about in investigations once we get there, and the data series, and handling that why with study and word clearing of the particular data involved, and drilling the actions over and over until competent and confident. Retraining, or back to course for retraining, means that the student is sent to cramming to get straight exactly what is missed, and then back to course, and then does the entire course again. Can you imagine having to do the entire course again? That's gotta really suck if you're a Scientologist. No shortcuts or skimping is allowed on retraining, as a student who fails to apply one aspect of the course has a misunderstood which would have prevented him from fully grasping and understanding the other material on previous times through the check sheet. Also, number of times over the material equals certainty and results. A major study datum, which has been proven beyond any question in Dianetics and Scientology. Number of times over the material equals certainty in results. No shit. Obviously, if you repeat going over stuff, you're going to know it better. Adding materials to check sheets. Every student is given a complete check sheet at the start of a course. It is not added to after he started working on it. If it is in its final form when it's handed to him. It may be added to for those who enroll later, but is not added to during the course. The materials which may be added to a course are those which specifically state this in the distribution. For example, the NED course or the Class 8 course. They must be specifically designated for the course. If the distribution of an issue simply states, for example, NED auditors or Class 4s, the issue is not to be added to those courses. The issue would be for distribution to the graduates of those courses. Only those issues whose distribution specifically states course may be added to course check sheets. No others may be added. Indiscriminately adding materials to course check sheets has been largely responsible for extended training time. This practice caused the Class 8 course, a 3-week course in 1968, to take up to 8 months in 1970. That's gotta suck. Whoever took the Class 8 course in 1970, I feel fucking bad for you. I feel bad for anybody who takes this shit. Note, hat check sheets are the exception to the above. They are to be completely updated with all new materials that apply to the hat, your type of job, whether stated in the distribution of the issues or not. This means that all new materials that belong on the check sheet are added before the student starts his hat. See check sheets format. Master check sheets. The course admin is to keep up a master check sheet for each course he's responsible for. These master check sheets must be kept up to date, noting all cancellations, revisions, additions, and corrections to each check sheet. Thus, when a student starts a course, he can be handed a check sheet that has been completely updated per the master check sheet. Check sheets are a tremendous aid to study and are an essential part of any training. It's illegal to run any course on any subject without a check sheet in Dianetics and Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard, founder, as assisted by the Research and Technical Compilations Unit. I'm going to call it RTCU. Accepted by the Board of Directors of CSC. So I see RTC here, BK, and BDCSC. Board of Directors, Church of Scientology, California. Research and Technical Compilations. BK, I have no idea what BK is. I don't know if that's really something we can figure out, but let's give it a shot. BK. Okay, so there's more of those. Ships.org BK. What is a BK? Book. So that's a book type? I don't really know what book this is referring to. I guess I gotta clear that word at some point, but I really don't care. It's just a fucking abbreviation. But these were something that I never noticed before. So BDCSC, LRH, obviously, RTC. Now that means Religious Technology Center, but I guess it also means Research and Technical Compilations Unit. And the amount of acronyms is just maddening. Alright, twinning. I think we're going to stop here. Because this is 11 pages. I think this is going to be its own video. But we covered dictionaries. And we covered check sheets. Later, we're going to see some of those check sheets and see what they look like. So, I want to thank all of you guys for watching or listening to this series. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Like if you like, obviously. Dislike if you don't. Doesn't fucking matter. I don't see those stats anyway because of YouTube. Comment if you have any feedback or just want to say you like the video, hate it, whatever. Subscribe if you want to be kept up to date on any future videos I post, because I'm definitely going to be posting more in this student hat. We're already about 1/10 of the way through this course. And we're on what? Video 3? So that probably means this is going to be a 30-part course. Oh my god. I just realized how long this was going to potentially take. But we got through this video. We're done with it. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.